Yeah, yeah. Woo. Phone ringing for the work. They waiting on me like the 15 the first. I'm killing competition, put them bitches in the hearse. Been diagnosed with a sick flow, with a nurse. Yeah, do it for the city, but the hood getting turned. With the money going around like an offering in the church. Shit,
What's
this
up,
shit
guys? This is episode 113 of the Bubble Sports Podcast. Welcome back. It's been a while, but the reason why that we've been gone for a little bit is the whole reason why we're doing this episode right here. And you're thinking to yourself, like, this looks completely different from the past episodes, from what I've seen, and then you may hear some audio updates as well, some better audio, better sounding quality. That's because I am happy to announce that we're doing big things here at the Bubble Sports Podcast, and we did some upgrades. We did some heavy upgrades, man. I'll tell you what. Sometime randomly last week, I was trying to upload the last episode 112, and for most of you, you don't know like the type of setup that I had. But I was using a MacBook Air from like 2015 and still using the same webcam. But as far as processing, as far as uploading, that shit took 2 to 3 hours just for one episode. And I would hope that it would work. But most times it would take 4 or 5 attempts just to get it processed through YouTube and to even see if it can go into like a 720 resolution and be happy with that, to even see if it got uploaded. So I knew that my Mac wasn't going to handle it. I didn't think it was going to last that much longer if I did do that same process over and over again. Now, when I was using it for just audio portions, dude, all day, that thing was easy. That takes like 5 minutes. But when you're doing video, if you don't know, shit hard. That shit hits different, all right? So, randomly last week, I said, look, man, I know I'm trying to save up money for a trip that's going on at the end of the month, and I need to be smart about this. So I went to my local Best Buy. I know a guy, and I want to appreciate Angel from Best Buy, Angel Morales, that helped me out throughout this process, get me all the parts perfectly done for the setup that is meant for this specifically, what we're doing right now, you and me, together forever. This is the setup that we did for streaming, for podcast. So we ended up getting a PC, and we're building a whole PC together. Well, most of it went through him, but I did the approval. I said it looked nice, and I'm using it, so that's all that matters. But we did a full-on CPU, full-on hard drive, full-on graphics card, the whole nine that is meant for what we're doing here today and we're going to be doing in the near future. So that's an upgrade in itself. The sound quality, like audio-wise, I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. Rest in peace. Well, it's not dead or it's not working, but the Insignia microphone that I used for 3 years, that thing was a champ. It did pretty good. I mean, from when we started, I was using a MacBook Air microphone that was built into that. That was huge. But I think it was time for an upgrade in sound quality as well. And this thing's a behemoth. This thing's really nice. I haven't even looked at what's possible for this guy. So it's going to take some time for me to really get it going, really get the feel for it. But hopefully you hear an improvement, you see an improvement. I'm pretty sure we're going to upload this on 1080p, which I didn't do previously. But, man, like, it may not look like a huge difference right now. But I think as we go on, we start to see the differences from, like, our first stream, our podcast episodes. But, like, even the scenery, the whole reason why I changed up the scenery, we're not in that corner with all my cowboy setup, is for streams. So, I'll first mention that if I slide on over here, like I do in your girls' DMs. So, got a table right over here, the same table that we were using for a lot of the episodes. Just have the webcam on there, the computer on there. And I'm still cleaning up. Dude, I had to move the whole room around. And I guarantee when guests come over, they're going to be like, what the fuck? You live in a fucking hut. Like, this dude, like, this room ain't big enough for what you're trying to do. So I had to find a desk that was big enough for that, or convenient enough for the setup. Still have my gaming setup. Still do like tables like this. My bed that's too damn big for my fucking room. But as soon as I get rid of this, this is gonna be the table that will have the microphone and our notes on, or whenever we're doing an episode with a guest. So tomorrow, if you're watching this tonight, most of you are waiting for this episode to come out. But for those of you that are going to watch it tonight, tomorrow we're doing an episode with Eddie. He's finally going to be back on the podcast. It's been a long time coming, man. But it's the first official video with him, first official podcast with him since the new setup. So I'll be on one side, he'll be on the other. We have plenty of room, set up a webcam on the bed probably just to be stable. And then we'll be face to face, and we're going to do an awesome video on the setup, see what he thinks, and then we're going to talk a lot more about sports that we've missed over the last week and a half and since he's been gone. So look forward to that. And then on Saturday, now that I mentioned that, you get an idea of what we have. There's more room than what it looks like on the camera. There's plenty of room. It doesn't look like it with the bed being right here, but it was the best I could do. And for the time being, until I get a fucking mansion, I don't know what to fucking do. But until then, we're gonna stick with this setup. But if I'm gonna put some pictures of like the setup as far as the desk and the PC goes, where I have my gaming setup. We won't be gaming streaming. My computer just won't be able to handle that. But we're gonna see the setup, and you guys get a firsthand look on what's new and what we're going to be rocking on the Bubble Let Sports podcast. Now, as I mentioned, streams, I am proud to announce that the second official stream that we are doing on the Bubble Let Sports podcast will be this Saturday. So, what is it? Fuck. It's the 22nd of February, 2020. We'll be doing our second live stream of the podcast where we're going to be watching or doing a watch along for the XFL. The Dallas Renegades will be playing right around 4 o'clock my time, Central Time. So perfect timing. I have a short shift on Saturday, so we're just going to chill out. If you can make it out there, if you didn't do on the first one for the Super Bowl, hell, we're going to be doing plenty for XFL, for fights. Now that we got the whole setup, it'll be awesome. We'll do like one with Eddie. Hopefully he'll be there on Saturday. I'll ask him tomorrow. But as far as the setup itself, will be right over here. And now, since I can do this shit, look at that. Boom! We got a second webcam. I don't know where I'm going to put this right here. But that's the TV that we're going to be watching on. So I know on the first one, it looked like we're in the living room. We were. But I was using my Mac, so it was very portable. With this, I don't want to move this shit around like always. So this is a setup. We're going to be using the webcam somehow. But that's the view that we're going to have as far as watching the game, watching the fights. And then from there, we're just going to keep rolling with these streams. So Saturday is the first official one for the new era of the Bubble Let Sports podcast. And hopefully you can join us if you didn't join for the first one. I mean, there's going to be plenty more. And if you did, come back. Let's have a good time and chat. I got some alerts going, so we're going to be doing our goals for subscribers. As far as right now goes, we're at 47. So close to 50, guys. Like I can't believe we're already almost 50 subscribers into YouTube. And I know that like we're gonna come back to this and look back and see that when we're 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, hopefully we get to that point. But we'll come back to this and we'll cheer for 50 subscribers. But the fact that we've already reached this so far, 47, and a lot of you, like, you're not into sports that much, but you appreciate what I do. You love seeing me do what I love, and I can only thank you so much for the appreciation and the support that you guys give to me. And the reason why you're here is to look at the new era of the Bubble Let Sports podcast. And I know we're going to get into not sports tonight because we're going to save that for tomorrow with Eddie. There's a lot to talk about. But tonight I want to talk about more of just life, you know, what I'm going through, what I want to do this year. So I think that's everything as far as the setup goes, the new improvements, the new updates, and what you should expect from me for the time being. So at least 2 episodes of the podcast per week, maybe a stream per week just to start it off. But if there's huge events for sports every single week and almost every single day, then hell, I'll do that. You know, if my schedule fits it for work, then I'm going to do it every single day. I will try my best to do that. But for the time being, we'll do 1 stream per week. That's what I'm expecting. 2 episodes per week, if not more, depending on what's happening. But yeah, so Yeah, I mean, like here it is. We're transitioning into just whole set of updates that are only going to be a long-term solution to the podcast, and I hope you guys realize that and give me your thoughts on everything. So like your audio, your video, if you have any problems, let me know. It'll only help me out to figure out what the issue is, and give me your thoughts on like, do you see improvements in the audio, video, and what do you think about the whole setup and what we should expect from the Bubble Let Sports podcast from this point on. So after that, so like I mentioned, for the people that are just like listening to the audio portion, I completely forgot. I'm sorry. But thank you for just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You know, it's crazy to think that like starting out, I was like the first one of the group. Not going to take credit for it. I'm not going to be, you know, like a condescending asshole. But the fact that I'm seeing, you know, Eddie have success in his podcast along with Brianna. I'm seeing the Babble podcast with Jacob and Alexis. That's a lot of fun to listen to. It's just about life, tacos, good shit all around. It's really funny. I mean, it's great to see everyone thriving and get into this type of thing. So maybe one day they'll all come here and we'll do a podcast for the Bubble Let Sports podcast, just a regular one, because they don't know a lot of sports. But well, Eddie does, but the rest of them, Jacob does as well. So I think a good trio of Eddie, Jacob, and I would be awesome to have on the podcast itself. We get some really good arguments going. But if we get Alexis in there, Brianna in there, awesome, even better. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, the guests that we're gonna have, the influence that we're having on other people is amazing. I can name 6 or 7 guests that I can, you know, get on the podcast in the next month. You know, we're going to talk about March Madness. I already got someone in plan for that. You got Eddie that will always be on the podcast whenever he feels like it. We're going to have, you know, my boy Kevin, my boy Gilbert coming at the end of March. We're going to be talking some like esports as well. Esports will be on the podcast too. You never know. But as we go along, man, more and more people. I'm starting to get the people that I want on the podcast. And we're going to set up some dates and some times. That way we can do the setup and it'd be a lot of fun. So, but back to like the other podcasts, it's great to see everyone do it. And I'm glad that, you know, I truly believe that I'm a big influence on people and wanting to do that. So I get my influence from other podcasters and YouTubers. So that's just passing it on, you know, kind of going through the domino effect. But you know, it's great to see everyone do that, and I'm glad that we're still continuing this. We're like 7-8 months into the podcast, legitly. I know it's like doesn't make sense. You have 113 episodes, but you've only done 7 months. That's crazy. Like, no, this has been a 3-year process, but never have I been this dedicated. Like, dude, I spent a good amount of money on the PC, a good amount of money on the setup, and that's just to improve your viewing and your listening experience. This is all for you guys. This is, you know, this is for me too. You know, I love to see the progression that we're doing, but it's for a good reason. It's not just me trying to flex and say, oh, dude, I got a PC. Now we're like balling. You know, we make some money off the podcast, but not enough to pay for all of this. You know, I got this out of my own pocket, saved up, but it was worth the investment because I know that it's going to be worth it in the end. So, so talking about life, man, like this year, I've tried my best to really, really change things. You know, every other like New Year's, you start to say like, oh, I got to do things this time around differently. You know, I'm finally gonna eat healthy. I'm finally gonna go to the gym. I'm finally gonna pursue my dreams. And you say that, and I don't know if you've been progressing in your goals for 2020, and I hope you are, because it's great to see people around me flourish, and I want to be an influence on other people. But just for myself, man, like I love making other people happy. I love making other people happy, laugh, you know, experience a great feeling inside. But it's another thing to do that for yourself. You know, I experienced a lot of problems last year as far as my personal life, as far as just my mentality, and I really wanted to make it a point this year to be as positive as possible. You're going to have your off days, obviously. You're obviously going to have those bad days where you just don't want to do anything. You got to make sure that those good days outweigh those bad days, and that's what I've just constantly thinking about ever since the beginning of the year. I have a list of like goals that I want to make for myself for 2020. And one of the first thing was like try to make the podcast as perfect as possible, have a lot of fun with this podcast, and give you the best experience that I can. And I feel like I've done a very good job of that. You know, I want constructive criticism. By no means do I think it's a knock on me or it's an insult, because if it's really coming from the good part of your heart, that's just going to help me. You know, it's going to help other people that come in that don't know me personally, and they see that I do a podcast on sports or on life, you know, and they say like, oh, I don't really know this guy, but he makes a good point. He has a great setup. You know, he's having fun. You see that he loves what he does, and that's exactly what I want to do. So I've made it my personal goal to be the number one priority of making this the best podcast possible. And then also like the obvious ones, you know, eating better, going to the gym, and I've actually been pretty good at that too. Yeah, knock on wood, right? But for right now, you know, we've been on the gym grind for like 3.5 weeks, feeling a lot better, you know, eating healthier. I'm trying to cut down fast food as much as possible. I have the occasional Whataburger because, you know your boy wants some Whataburger. You know you want it, right? But, you know, not having it 4 times a week compared to once a week, you know, that's a huge upgrade. You know, eating more vegetables, you know, just when I'm trying to gain weight too, like having to eat a certain amount of calories but not going over in your fat, over in your sodium, that's been tough. But hell, man, like I have to eat probably around 2,800 calories a day just to gain, let's say, a pound. Like my goal is 200 pounds because I'm like 180 when I first started. And I'm at 183, 184 right now, and that's a good amount of muscle. There's some fat in there, but obviously, you know, we'll cut down eventually. But my goal is 200, and we're 3 weeks in, 3 pounds to go, or 3 pounds done. That's a pretty good, you know, incline. But having to eat 2,800 calories a day, you know, my breakfast this morning, you know, I ate eggs, I ate some leftovers on chicken from last night, some healthy chicken, granola bar, and then a protein shake. That was 1,400 calories itself. And then my dinner, I just ate the fucking kitchen. That's what I ate. God bless, man. But I went to the gym, felt good, you know, worked out chest. That always feels nice, right? Right? I know I don't look like I work out a lot, but, you know, in due time, we'll get that done. My computer just shut down. What the fuck just happened? I gotta move the mouse every, like, 15 minutes. But, yeah, like, so that's going good. You know, 3 pounds down. You know, that's a good amount of muscle. Took a picture like everyone does, but I'm going to keep that to myself until I feel that I've really done some great progress. And I said this on... Whose podcast was it? Oh yeah, it was our first stream when I mentioned, like, someone said, you know, what do you live by? Like, what's a quote that you live by? And one of them for me was, don't stop until you're proud. And that's definitely how I feel right now about the gym, about eating healthier, about the podcast. But I will truly say that the biggest thing that helped me motivate myself and to be a better person mentally and physically, it's unfortunate for this to happen. But good things come out of bad things, and I'll say that the Kobe passing, along with his daughter Gianna, and the other people involved, that tragedy really put in perspective like how life just is so quick. You know, so many things happen in that 24 hours. You know, with sports, you know, there's some moments in there that really impacted me, but Kobe's passing in general just really changed my life, like for the time being. You know, that man just was a work ethic that no one other had. They just, everyone looked up to Kobe as far as work ethic and mentality, and I hope that you guys can see this. I have so many alerts. That's like Bleacher Report though. I got the do not disturb, but if you can see that, that's Kobe Bryant, and then at the top it's Mamba mentality. That's kind of how I felt, you know, ever since I put that as my screensaver right after his passing. You know, I've had that, I wouldn't say Mamba mentality. There's still some things that I can work out. Like, my sleep schedule's terrible. I feel like that's one thing that I really got to work on that'll only transition me more into a better life physically and mentally. But as soon as I put that on my screensaver and as soon as the passing happened, I just realized that life is too short, man. You really can't take this for granted. So live every day like it's your last. And even if you don't think like that, like personally, I don't think of that every single day. But what I do think is that how can I make this day productive? How can I make this day better? And by going to the gym, I hate myself right now if I don't go to the gym. I really don't like it when I don't go to the gym. It's just something embedded in me. Waking up early, like I need to get better at that. Yeah, I hate myself when I wake up at like 11 or 12 and say like I could have done this in the past 2 or 3 hours. I could have done a better way of setting up this room if I had that 2 or 3 extra hours. Could have gotten this episode out earlier if I just woken up. Stuff like that. Or eating out and saying like, oh, I could have avoided that. I could have saved money. I could have eaten better. There's some occasions where you just want to treat yourself, no problem. But limit that as much as possible to make yourself feel better. And in past years, definitely last year, that wasn't the case. I didn't think that way. I tried to be positive, but I was not in a good place. And ever since then, I feel like I've done a better job of being a better person, mentally, physically. I've never felt better, really. There's obviously some things that I need to work on. There's some things that I want to get better at. But right now, I'm proud of myself for making this progress, for making these improvements, for taking that chance, taking that risk. And here I am talking to you, and I hope that you're still listening 20 minutes in. But I know this is different from the other podcasts and the other episodes, but we'll get back to the sports, don't worry. Just for the time being, man, like, I can't appreciate you guys enough for being there for me. Seeing all your comments, your retweets, your likes, and the response of like whenever I say like this podcast is gonna come out today, we're gonna have our first stream and everyone's like sharing it, everyone's subscribing, like that hits the heart, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And to see the amount of support that people have for me, like believing in me and wanting me to do better. Like they see me doing great things. And whether it's just doing my own thing or going to the big time, which is the end goal, obviously, they are part of the journey. And I'm sorry. I just can't appreciate enough the amount of support and the people that are just, pushing me to do better. And this is why I do it. I wake up every day wanting to do a podcast for people to enjoy, for people to pass the time better, easier, and, learn a little bit more about sports, learn a little bit more about me and what I do on a daily basis. And I'm kind of speechless right now, man. Like, the reason I get emotional is like we're here. We're so far beyond the beginning of when I started this. But even at that beginning, I never thought it would come to this. I never thought that we would make these strides together. And since day one, I know who's been here since day one. But that doesn't mean that I won't appreciate the people that come in now. Even the people that I work with, even the people that don't like sports that much, but they just come into the stream, they come into the chat, and they say, they ask me a question, they say how good it's going. Even afterwards, when the stream is over and I go out to hang out with someone, or I get a text saying, great stream, that was awesome, that was a lot of fun, can't wait for the next one. It just puts a smile on my face, man. I want to put a smile on your guys' faces, but when you put a smile on mine, that's dangerous, man. That only drives me a little bit more to do better. So I really can't thank you enough, guys. I really can't. And I can't wait for Saturday, for whoever joins us. I can't wait for you guys to see the alerts that we put together. And I mean, like, it's crazy, man. We're going to reach 50. We're probably going to reach it before even Saturday comes, which is the end goal for Saturday. But, I mean, hell, we'll probably set a goal for 75 on Saturday. We'll see what happens. But For all of you that spread the word, for all of you that appreciate, retweet, like, share, subscribe, all the good things about this podcast, all the great things that we can be better at. You guys are the reason. You guys are the reason why I'm here and the reason why I'm still doing this and why I'm doing this episode right now with this complete setup. So I didn't cry, but it's episode like 114 or 113. Wait till we get to like 150 or 200. Or when we reach a stream where, donations are coming our way, subscribers are coming our way, and we get the ball rolling. But I think I've talked enough. I can talk a little bit more about like my life, but life's good, man. I tweeted that out a couple weeks ago where it's like the podcast is better than ever. I'm eating better. I feel better. I'm going to the gym. I'm feeling happy every single day of my life. Life's good, man. Life's good. And I hope that your life is going good, man. Like, I hope that, coming to the stream or watching this video, listening to this any time of day or night makes you smile. I hope it makes you feel better about yourself and know that I'm here for you. I'm always going to be there for you. And we're just going to ride this out together. I hope 2020 has been the best year of your life so far, because it's been so far for mine. We've had some bad times. I forgot to tell you that I got into an accident, a couple days ago. It was part of a hit and run. And I'm good. I'm not injured, feeling good. Had to call the cops. We'll save that for probably tomorrow or for Saturday. Let's just save it. Let's leave it on a cliffhanger, right? But guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Can't tell you enough how excited I am for the future and how happy I am to announce this full setup. So if you're still here, awesome. Just make sure to retweet, like, subscribe. If you haven't already on YouTube, make sure to ring that bell for alerts and notifications. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, yada, yada, yada. And then go to anchor.fm/bubbleutz to subscribe and support the actual podcast itself with a subscription of $1, $5, and $10 a month. That will help toward my funds to pay for this shit, because it wasn't cheap. But, hey, we're here together. We'll get there in due time. So thank you for listening and thank you for watching to the Bubble Utz Sports Podcast. And we'll see you next time.